Welcome everybody on into Brown Table Sports. In case you have absolutely no idea who I am, my name is Josh Halprin and I'm joined here with
Jonah, Doerr.
And today we're going to be talking about, as the video suggests, we're going to be recapping the Michigan State season. Jonah, what are you thinking?
Well, I'd like to start off by saying it was a little bit of a disappointing season.
A little bit is an understatement.
Definitely some very high expectations compared to the reality of what happened. But when you go back and look at it, really we should have been expecting what happened this season to be about what happened.
I mean, fair enough. I don't know if I 100% agree with that. I think when you're looking at a guy like Jonathan Smith coming in and the kind of year that he put together at Oklahoma State last year, correct me if I'm wrong, but Oklahoma State was ranked.
Oregon State, my
bad. My apologies.
But they were ranked.
Oregon State was ranked. DJ Uyunglele was good somehow. And they were putting together a very competent season. They got a bowl game. They went 9-3, 10-2, I believe. And then you think Jonathan Smith is bringing all this talent with him. And one of the big things that he was talking about was how important this in-state recruiting is. But he's constantly losing in-state recruits to Michigan and other outside schools somehow. And the players that he brought in, I don't know how much impact they really had besides Childs, because when you look at the most impactful players from Michigan State this year, you're looking at guys like Nick Marsh,
Kyron Lynch-Adams, Nate Carter. But, Childs obviously had a pretty big role to play in what happened with the season. What I'll say, though, is Jonathan Smith did have a few years at Oregon State to build up that program, and I think that a lot of MSU fans saw what he was able to do and were instantly, oh, this guy's a great coach. And I think you could see that. However, there's still some areas that we're definitely lacking in. I know we went multiple weeks, multiple games without recording a single sack, which is just not acceptable, especially with some of the quarterback talent that is in the Big Ten. And additionally, our offensive line was a little banged up, but just not very much talent, and it's hard to win when you don't have.
And that secondary, dude.
Yeah. After Brantley got hurt as well.
I was so sad. Yeah. I watched that happen at the game.
Yes, we did.
That was, we were there. That was really, really bad. Instantly.
Yeah. But
and he was playing such a great game too. He was having such a solid season.
The other thing I'll say about the season and the talent that Jonathan Smith brought with him is that there was a lot of big expectations for Aiden Childs, which I think to an extent he lived up to. There's definitely a lot of flashes of very good. But at the end of the day, he's still a very young quarterback who didn't have that much playing experience. And you could see at points throughout the season, missed throws, just small fundamental things that were really throwing off the flow of the games that we were playing in.
When you look at games like what was going on with Rutgers, Rutgers might not be the best example. You can look at Purdue. Childs was playing some very competent quarterback from, maybe not competent and maybe not good and successful, since they could not put a point up to save their lives in the second half at all this season, which is 100% on coaching. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how we don't go into go into halftime and go and make adjustments on the fly, because that feels like something that most head coaches and coordinators should be able to do competently, because there are so few of these positions available, to where you would think that simple decision-making and competence would be a cornerstone of being a coach. But even then, Childs is still developing. It's not as fast as us Spartan fans might want it to be. It's not, at the level. He's not at the level that we want him playing at. But at the same time, you're absolutely right. He is a young quarterback, and we need just patience, man.
And going off what you said about us not performing well in the second half, it kind of harks back to both of our offensive and defensive lines not being very good. Because when you're playing a football game, you have to establish the run on offense and you have to stop it on defense. So once you start getting into the second half, you haven't been running well all game, teams start feeling a lot more comfortable sitting back, playing more conservative defense, not really selling out to stop the run if they know that they can, just by keeping 4 players on the defensive line and maybe a linebacker in the box.
100%.
Which makes it a lot tougher to keep throwing throughout the game, and if you can't establish the run even once they're defending the pass, it gets tough to really move the ball at all. And then defensively, it's the same thing. If you can't stop the run, you're just going to keep getting beaten down. And once that happens, it starts getting harder and harder and harder to stop the other team.
It is kind of crazy how many games are just determined by run games in college football. Because when you look at, it's not Michigan State related, but if you look at the winner of the Michigan-Ohio State game from the past, I don't know, decade or so, it's always been whoever won the rushing battle. Whoever has more rushing yards wins the game.
Yep.
And it's kind of just like an interesting trend. I don't know. Overall, expectations, I was thinking 8-4. I was very hopeful of a bowl game. Not getting a bowl game is absolutely soul-crushing for me.
Yeah, I think it was definitely there for the taking. I don't think
100%.
Rutgers is a team that we would lose to consistently, especially in the manner that we lost to them.
And while you're home, too.
Yep.
And that offense was firing, and then you just moved the ball away from Nate Carter for literally no reason at all. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And once they weren't able to generate anything, they just, kept on sitting there and doing nothing and just, keeping their hands in their pockets and saying, well, we tried. When the truth is that, I attended a press conference after the Purdue game because I was in the box, and it was a pretty cool experience all around. But one kind of complaint that I have about Jonathan Smith is that his players and this team in general, and him himself included, just do not show any emotion to us as fans.
Yeah.
Like, if you are angry about these losses, and if you are, that Purdue game, we almost lost.
Yeah.
That was really, really bad. I in that press box was stressing hard.
There was a pre-game segment on whatever channel that it was on, and one of the analysts was saying that this is the first time all season that he felt like this is a winnable game for Purdue in the Big Ten. And with all due respect to Purdue, if you're being told that your team is a winnable game for them, it's not a position that you want to be in.
No, exactly. Could not agree with you more. When you're trying to build a team, the biggest thing, and I will die on this cross, the biggest thing is identity.
Yeah.
If your team has no emotion and no identity and no fuel or fight or fire or anything, and there's just nothing, then how can you expect to win games?
Right. And I think, additionally, MSU has a pretty large stadium, and a lot of times when you're in those games and you can feel that the team doesn't have energy, they're not keeping you motivated.
No, the student section gets totally deflated.
Yeah, you can feel the entire stadium lose energy, and especially a student section as large as the MSU's is, you need them to be loud in those home games to give you a better chance at winning them.
Little fun fact for the people at home. During the Michigan State-Ohio State game, our freshman year, we're juniors now, so 2 years ago, Jonah and I were in the trenches leading that student section, man. While CJ Stroud was blowing us out, we kept the band hype, and I am very proud of that.
Yeah.
But, just goes to show, if it's the fans that are the ones that need to be giving this team any rejuvenation, energy, anything, then there's obviously a problem.
100%.
And I think just moving into next season, it's just got to be better.
Yeah. What about some key performers from this year?
Well, we got to talk Nick Marsh.
Yeah.
Nick Marsh honestly should probably transfer.
It probably should. If we can keep him, I would love that.
I would love to keep him around. I really hope that he sticks around and that Jonathan Smith has made it very clear to him that there is a place for him, and, he will be getting a majority of receptions next year.
Right.
And, I don't know, I'd really like to see more use of guys like Antonio Gates Jr., because he was a very talented prospect coming in, and he stuck it out, and I think he deserves a shot going into next season. Jack Vealing, huge.
Yep. I think he, outside of Josh, is the most talented receiver that we have on
100%. And
the most reliable, certainly.
And when Childs against Purdue gave him that death ball, I held my breath.
Yep.
But, hey, he came back the next week, too, so
yeah,
big ups to Vealing. No, he just did what was needed of him, and he was constantly sure-handed. If there was a time where you needed a catch, you went to Marsh or you went to Vealing. And Montorie Foster also did not put together the worst season in the world.
Very solid season for Montorie.
He wasn't really a standout, but it was very, very consistent.
Yeah.
And that's just the kind of player that he's been for us for the entire time that he's been here, the Michigan kid staying home. Mm-hmm. And much love for him. On defense, I think you got to look at guys like Jordan Turner.
Yeah.
Because Cal Halliday kind of took a step back this year, honestly. And
which is weird because he's been such a reliable player for us for the past few years, but definitely had a smaller role to play in the defense.
And it's also kind of interesting. I was just thinking about this the other day. It's kind of interesting just how many, not that great linebackers are, in both the NFL and in college anymore.
Yeah.
When you're looking at a guy that can, sorry for the Chris Collinsworth impression there. When you're looking for somebody that you need to be at one point was the quarterback of your entire defense, being the middle linebacker and noticing the reads that the quarterback is calling out and getting the defense in line. You'd think that those players would be a lot more impactful, league wide, but the fact that Jordan Turner is a name, and honestly, he was probably one of the best linebackers in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
and I don't think that that's that hot of a take to say that. But it's crazy when you look at how bad of a season Michigan State had versus individual player play. Then it's really unfortunate for those players, and I really hope that a lot of them do not enter the transfer portal because. At the end of the day, we, as fans, just need to hold our breath and trust Jonathan Smith.
Yeah. And speaking of transfers and hoping that players stay, I do think this team has a lot of potential for next season. I think that Childs, he has the full season of playing underneath his belt, should be able to take a step forward, especially if he keeps working during the offseason.
100%.
And if he can really come into the potential that we've seen throughout the season, he could be one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in the Big Ten.
No, 100%. His ceiling is unlimited, dude.
Yeah. Then you got, again, Nick Marsh. If he decides to stay, he's probably the best freshman receiver in the Big Ten this year, if not all of college football outside of Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams. So when you have a guy like that, it's important to try and keep them around and especially, take that step forward for next season. Defensively, I think we need a lot for next year, though. I think we had really 2 or 3 notable players on the defense, and that's just not an acceptable place to be.
100%. And, of course, if any players are interested in playing for Michigan State, please reach out to us. I do scouting reviews. We can get your tape looked at and get you, hopefully, some attention. And our program needs it. So if you're good and you aren't getting the love that you think you should from college recruiting, whatever, and would rather go in a different direction, then please consider reaching out because it'd be really cool to work with you guys. Overall, next season, just hopefully do better and hopefully make a bowl game while I'm still in school here, man. Because truthfully, can we just get a bowl game? God, please, dude, please. I need it. I'm yearning for it. I'm craving it, dude. I need a bowl game. This team has just sucked the life out of me for 3 years in a row, and 2 of those 3 times we have been 5-7, and come down to the exact last game, and for whatever reason, this godforsaken team just refuses to have any rejuvenation or any we just need to win this game and then we make a bowl game and we're actually be able to get some silverware and actually play into December and do cool stuff, but there's no fight on these teams and I don't know why.
The fall off from obviously where we were around a decade ago, making college football playoffs, but even into the Mel Tucker era, there was a time that we were ranked number 2 in the nation.
Number 3
before we lost to Purdue, and the fall off from that to the next season being one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. Season after that, really just staying about the same, and now, there's flashes that we could be a better team, but really still just not where we need to be.
No, 100%, and it's extraordinarily disappointing. I would love to see players take steps in the offseason. I think Charles Brantley can stick around.
Yep.
For one more season. He 100% should 100% come forward and prove why you are the best cornerback in the Big Ten. And because honestly, next year he probably could be
100%.
And bring in some more corners and safeties because I cannot watch Gross make any more penalties and sell this team's games, like just go and take their chances and chuck them out the window literally as far as he possibly can. I think he has definitely contributed more bad than good this season. And, you know, him just as an example, and I'm sorry, dude, but like, you've been stinking it up. Like, we just need guys that can come in and actually just play competent football and not draw stupid penalties and not just do stupid things and just play your position the way that it's supposed to be played. Yeah. I'm not asking for flawlessness. I'm just asking for competency.
Yeah. Looking forward to next season, I think there's a few things to keep in mind. First of all, we played a lot of close games this year.
100%.
Michigan went down to the wire. Boston College went down to the wire, and at the end of the day, those games were winnable, and it came down to mistakes that the team was making. So I think
that Ohio State game too, dude.
Even that, we were, a dropped interception in the first half,
failed fourth down conversion.
Yeah.
Twice, I think, just got stood up.
Yeah.
And then Jeremiah Smith starts actually catching the ball on us, but like. That entire first half was a very competent Michigan State team.
Yeah. So I think, if we can eliminate some of those mistakes, especially the ones that stem from Chiles since he's taken that step forward, I think that we'll be able to win at least 6 games for a bowl game.
No, because our season, sorry to interrupt, but our season next year is also, when just looking at schedule rankings right now and how the outlook is of next season, our schedule is significantly easier.
100%.
And that's like definitely something that we need to be taking note of, and hoping that this team can just play competent enough to win 7 or 8 games. Please.
I think if we eliminate the mistakes, win a few more games that way, and just gain enough talent, whether it's through players progressing or people coming into the transfer window, or even if there's a freshman who can have an impact like Nick Marsh did this season, I think that's enough that we could be a borderline top 25 team. But it's really just about getting the players in that we need to, and as a team stepping forward into what we can be.
100%. And it's also remembering that this team is very, very young. And while myself included, us as fans, myself included, very frustrated with the outcome of the season, I don't think anybody's really happy about it. I think we were all definitely expecting a bowl game, and it sucks to not get one again. Or as of right now, because who knows what'll happen, but I highly, 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 highly doubt it. This team just needs to keep on developing and getting better because it's young.
Yeah.
It's young. It's a raw team.
And I think the other thing is it'll be a second year of Jonathan Smith and his coaches and their schemes, and just having the players know everything going into the year will be
and giving Jonathan Smith an off season where he's able to not worry about switching positions to a school that's entirely across the entire country from him, but he is able to just relax and recruit. We landed a guy for 2027. Why we're recruiting for 2027 right now, I don't know, but whatever. All the 2025, it's whatever.
Putting the building blocks in for the future, so
but it'd be nice if they got a safety this cycle. But even then, just let Jonathan Smith keep cooking. Let this team keep on developing and hopefully build an identity for itself. Jonathan Smith's not a Dan Campbell type of coach where he's going to come in with all this energy. He's a very mellow, just grit your teeth and get it done kind of coach. But it would be nice to see a little bit more emotion out of him from a fan perspective.
Yeah, I think we do certainly have a lot to look forward to next season.
100%. Thanks for joining me for this, Jonah. It was fun.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Anybody, please leave your comments and takes in comment section. Comments and takes in the comment section. Keep that going. We want to engage with you guys. We want to talk with you guys. Let's make this a conversation and let's make this fun. Thank you guys for listening, and Brown Table signing off. Have a great day.